All right, well, session just before lunch, and it's going to be our first panel of the day in Business Track, which is very exciting. So the topic's going to be Circle of Commerce, Strategy of Attract, Convert and Fulfillment, looking at that end-to-end cycle of commerce. And I think we all know, Maurizio touched on it before, it's not just about having a good online experience. You've got to think of the glue. And, if the fulfillment comes and the package doesn't look good and you can't track it and it's late, that just annoys you. So it really is focusing on the end-to-end experience. But anyway, I'll hand over to the experts here. So I'll let the panel fully introduce themselves, but I'll just do a quick intro. There's a guy covered in dotdigital logos. He's really easy to see. His name's McClelland, Head of Growth, Southeast Asia, and he'll be the host and moderator for today's panel. Then we have Mandar, Delivery Manager, Commerce at Ranosys, and then Haran Pranatharthi. Is that correct? Is that okay? Okay, good. Managing Director APAC at Fluent Commerce. So literally we've got talking about the attract, convert, and the fulfillment. So these guys are going to be able to tell us about everything. So, chaps, come on stage. Do you want one of these? Yeah.
Thank you, Annie McClelland. Perfect. So I have taken some of the dotdigital merchandise off, but please feel free to stop by and grab any of it you particularly like. I wanted to kind of spend a bit of time today, just quickly before we introduce. Today's consumer, the way in which we interact and converse has kind of evolved and changed. Nowadays, customers can seek approval from their friends, they can use social, they can interact to find new experiences and new products that they wish to buy. Previously, we would go down to our favorite department store. We'd go there looking for a washing machine or a dryer, whatever it might be, and the salesperson would match our needs and requirements to a particular product that they had in stock there and then. And a lot of that has then evolved and changed, and nowadays we can actually experience products in a completely different way. Even my 3-year-old niece has access to an AR-enabled device, meaning that when we go into store, we can actually be directed to products and actually see more detail about them. So the way we're discovering is completely evolved and changed, but equally, the way in which we interact. Nowadays, I can just pick up a product and walk out of the Apple store with paying for it just with my phone. Don't need to speak to someone, don't even need to meet anyone. Equally, as we look to shop, Amazon is trial tested and developed where you can walk into store and walk out with the products without even speaking to a single individual. Transactions are automatically done and taken payment. And so just by having all of these new experiences, we as individuals are changing our behavior and changing the way in which we interact with brands down to maybe never even seeing a human being whatsoever. We can just get our favorite bubble tea by pressing a few buttons and it magically appears. The in-store experience is being replicated online as well. So being able to walk up, maybe not even speak to someone who'll give you their opinion. You can actually have the opinion of a mass of your social audience by just going over to a digital machine, pressing share on social and asking your friends, hey, what do you think of this new color? Would this suit me? And this is happening not just in store, but online as well. Sephora have got a fantastic app. So from the comfort of our own homes, we can get opinions, share, like, and then use that information to quickly buy the products. We can do it with retail as well. These are examples that are being utilized where in-home experiences are now delving into different ways in which we can converse, but also share those experiences with our friends and family. Apple, Intel are spending billions to change it even further. As we look to evolve the kind of commerce journey that customers go through, we have here examples of just a simple way in which we can interact with our world. Here we have access to hotels. Here's your nearest ATM with less withdrawal fees, providing information of exactly where we need it, just as the iPhone completely revolutionized how we interact with our day-to-day environment. Those same companies are now changing that entirely so that you never need to use your phone again and will actually use digital devices. And so, with regards to kind of what we wanted to talk about today, I'm pleased to be able to introduce a couple of experts that will be able to talk us through the kind of next steps. If you do have, obviously, any questions that you have. If you wish to, obviously, please get involved. We do encourage that. If you are looking to obviously grow your own online revenue, if you're looking to interact with your customers in personalized communications, the dotdigital team are there. I look after the growth for the region, but I'm actually pleased to be joined by two experts as well. Haran and Mandar will be joining me. So Haran is leading Fluent commerce expansion in Asia Pacific region. He's a global leader whose experience in commercial technology spans decades, multiple continents, as well as the more valuable software business world. He now brings his passion for omnichannel commerce to order management space, where he is in immense opportunities for brands, retailers, and distributors. I'm keen to hear what he has to say about, obviously, fulfillment and inventory as we look across the global infrastructure. And then finally, Mandar, it's a pleasure to be with you again. We've all spent quite a lot of time, obviously, preparing for this. Mandar is a business and technology leader with more than 15 years' experience across online and omnichannel. He's been trusted business partner and solutions advisor to global system integrators and retailers. And while at the forefront of critical business outcomes, he's able to help these projects to completion. His experience canvas encompasses business planning, strategy, and execution for organizational growth. And I'm pleased to have both of these experts that we could talk through today. And yes, if there is absolutely any questions that you might have during this, we'd love to hear them. So obviously to Mandar, with regards to kind of, we talked at the start about what is actually the circle of commerce. How is that playing out when you speak to both system integrators and merchants alike?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So we have this topic, right? Strategy for attract, convert, and fulfillment. So if we can start with this attract, so basically it's about the end-to-end journey for the customer. And before the pandemic or after the pandemic, it's a lot of changes it's not like a traditional e-commerce, the way we have it earlier. But now the changes are like, we have to focus on the product's data, basically. And so based on the data we have, or it's based on the, let's say, the branding guidelines, we have to follow that, or based on the Google AdWords, which are in demand. So we have to follow that. And if we manage those kind of data, then it's, easy to acquisition of the new customers. Yep. And then the power of SEOs, basically. So before crawling the links and for the landing pages and all, we have to make sure, those are searchable, so that anyone is looking for particular product which are related to a particular category, he is able to find that easily. Yep. And then if you can see nowadays the headless architecture is also there, it comes into the picture, so that we can utilize that. And we have AEM, Adobe Experience Manager, which is a good CMS, we can say, so that we can manage all kind of data. We have the versioning as well, in that. So if we, break these layers, basically the business layer and the presentation layer, if we can segregate this, then that will be helpful for the customers to, manage it and the content or the data and everything. So if we go with the headless, that would be good. If not, then we have our Magento as well in the back end and the front end. So if we talk about the circle of commerce, it's basically to start with the searching. So AI-based Adobe Sensei is providing such kind of features. We can utilize that. And it's based on, customers' data, basically, what they are looking for, what's the trending. And then it's a recommendation. So for existing customer, it's helpful based on his earlier orders that he has placed and all. But for the new customers, system, they don't know, right? Means what kind of data they are looking for or what they are interested in. So for such cases, maybe we have to make sure the landing pages and the categorization and the taxonomy, that has to be user-friendly. So that's how it is. And then maybe while we are going to the checkout cart, so these are the traditional way we are doing it on Amazon or Flipkart, everything, right? So recent days, the trending payment methods, maybe we can say click and collect is there, then we have buy now, pay later. We have to go with that, and then the delivery point of view also, we can see the curfew deliveries and all. So that's how it is. We have to go with it, and then for the fulfillment, multiple things are there, like ERP is there. Then we have to integrate with that for the Adobe Commerce point of view, and yeah, that's how it is.
No, it's fantastic. Obviously, Haran, when and I was just mentioning there around buy now, pay later, there's some great examples as well there, obviously within the kind of video I shared of great customer experiences. But for the circle of commerce, and what does that mean to kind of the SIs and merchants that you speak to? How are they kind of evolving and changing what they're doing?
Yeah, thank you for this. And I'm just glad that I don't have to deal with the slides running away from me. Look, there are a lot of things, and I think Mandar said a lot in terms of the circle of commerce and why it is important to do certain things to attract the customers. We focus a lot from a fulfillment standpoint, and we kind of feel that I've been in the e-commerce space for about 15 years now. The biggest challenge, I think, and I speak to retailers all over the globe, they spend a lot of money. I think you were alluding to your experience with the glue and the luggage tags. You spend so much of money and effort in having a great online experience that you probably forget to do certain things which are actually fundamental to a customer, right? Like receiving the right thing which I ordered when I get my package. It could be a gift that I'm actually waiting to give it to my wife or whoever that is, right? So it doesn't matter what online experience I have. What we call in our world, keeping the promise. Now, if you don't keep the promise, all the money and effort that you put in building the brand just goes out of the drain. So, and I think this is fundamental, and I think this is consistent across any regions, any countries. So if you were to look at Southeast Asia, I think this is a more the culture in Southeast Asia is very relationship oriented, right? People, it's a close knitted community. It's even more important in this region that you keep the promise, right? So I'm seeing a lot of innovative ways in which retailers are actually trying to ensure and compete with the marketplaces as well, because they do some of these things really well.
It's interesting you mention obviously the marketplaces. When it comes to sourcing new products, if I'm looking for some marketplaces have led the way in our ability to spend $200 very, very quickly. But a lot of what they do well is the customer communications as well. And they've really set the bar quite high for obviously a lot of the retailers. Is there any kind of recommendations that you would have for kind of anyone in the room on how they can adopt kind of that marketplace approach as it is the expectation of the customer now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the biggest thing in marketplaces is the trust that when I order something, it gets delivered. I think that's a fundamental in marketplaces, right? Amazon, the reason you go back again and again to Amazon is because you know that it's going to get delivered. That's number one. Number two, you also know that the whole return process is going to be much more simpler as well. So these are two really, really important processes in a retail world, right? If I buy something and if I don't like it, if I cannot return it as seamlessly as my purchase, then that's a big issue as well. So I live in the US now, and if you look at in the last 2 years, especially with COVID, there's a lot of fulfillment options that's actually come up, which works really, really well. Curbside pickup, for example. Right, and Target, I think 2021, if you look at Target, which is a big departmental store in the US, their online presence grew by about 40% last year, right, 2021. But within that 40%, 85% came from same-day delivery. And while you were actually running the cloud, in terms of what people think is important for experience, I saw a same-day delivery in there. That's super important because when I order for milk in the morning, and usually if you're all like me, you realize you don't have milk when you actually are trying to make coffee first thing in the morning. That's when you actually realize you don't have milk at home, right? I don't want to be buying online and wait 48 hours to get milk. It just doesn't work. So Target actually rolled out same-day delivery, but they also rolled out other options like curbside pickup and so on and so forth. So 85% of their 40% growth that they had online was with the same-day delivery and curbside pickup. There's a lot that retailers here in this region can also look at. I mean, in Singapore, one of the very reasons I wouldn't go into NTUC Fair Price in the evenings is because it's crowded and it's a long queue to actually buy. It'll be cool if I can actually buy something online and I just walk up and pick up my whatever I just purchased and head back home. So there's a lot that we can learn, and ensuring that keeping the promise and giving multiple options for customers, I think will go a long way in competing with the marketplaces.
And obviously, if we look at Singapore as an example, same-day delivery is actually same-hour delivery. There's an expectation here that things can be and should be delivered very quickly. And I think looking across the whole of Asia, and we've got a lot of retailers and SIs that work excuse me, around obviously the whole region, are we seeing a similar sort of trend in, I'm thinking Philippines, India, obviously Indonesia, to kind of offer that same service?
The services are like that we discussed, right? Click and collect and all. So yeah, most of the customers that we have implemented such things because that's the need of the days. And if we talk about the conversion and all, then maybe we can discuss means what kind of things we can do. So in case of conversion things and all, so we have to see the autocomplete search facility. So based on the recommendation things and based on his background, yep, that's it.
Yeah, I think looking through the actual conversion on the site as well, I was reading the presentation from WorldPay with regards to the buy now, pay later. There's quite a lot of countries around this region that are seeing a growth of obviously alternative payment options. Do we, as SIs, need to put every payment option on the website? And as retailers, do we need to kind of explore having not just digital wallets, every credit card, debit card, and buy now, pay later as an option on our screen? So that's something we should do, in your opinion?
Yeah, definitely. Means we have this already, we have implemented this for many customers who is looking for buy now, pay later. And so basically it's comfortable for the customers, right? That they can buy the products and paying after they feel it. And so, once they have the feeling, okay, this is the product that I'm looking for. And once they have the experience, then maybe they are feeling comfortable to pay for it. So yeah, we have it that already, and the click and collect is also more comfortable for the customers, right? So they can just purchase online whatever they are looking for and then get it from the stores which is nearby them.
I probably have slightly different view there. I don't think for a retailer especially, it's possible to actually give all the options for a consumer, right? Be it multiple channels in which something is delivered or different payment options. I think for me, it's more culture-based, it's region-based. Now, cash on delivery is a big thing, for instance, in India, right? It's probably not a big thing in this region because people just don't handle cash. They just don't have cash. So I think it's adaptability and looking at regions. So I've seen multinational companies, retailers in different countries actually have different options. If you go to a Target website in Australia and a Target website in US, you'll see completely different options in terms of payment or fulfillment. So I think it's adaptability. One thing for sure is convenience, right? So convenience of delivering something at the choice of my channel, right? Be it online, I go to a store, pick it up. I go to a pop box in the train station and pick it up. Whatever that may be, the convenience of picking something up is going to be fundamental. But I kind of feel that it's a very region specific in terms of what retailers want.
It's interesting you mentioned around convenience. That's very customer centric, and that's thinking about exactly what the customer wants. When we start implementing these initiatives, cost is always a factor. Ultimately, there was an example you shared about Target in the US that actually had quite significant business benefits by offering same-day click and collect or same-day delivery. Something along the lines of 90% of their costs reduced by obviously offering this as an option. And with regards to kind of how, someone goes about, I suppose, selling this into the business, that this is a new idea, has things changed over the last couple of years, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it has greatly, and I don't want to be going back to the whole pandemic because I think we were trying to get out of it, and good that by Monday I think we can all get rid of masks here in Singapore, which is awesome.
I'll join you on Monday for that.
Especially in planes, that's what I'm looking forward to. But I think if we were to take some positives that came out of the pandemic, it's the nimbleness of the retailers to respond to how the consumers want something to be delivered in case of a complete lockdown, right? So you saw absolutely innovative ways of fulfillment coming up. In Target, for example, in the US, I could order something, drive up, so they actually put all this parking slots just for pickups, and they had a number across every parking lot. So I park my car, I open my app, I put the parking lot number, and I had to just wait. Someone comes, I open the boot, he keeps the stuff that I bought, closes the boot, that's it. So no human contact, and this was innovative. And what actually they realized is that's working really well. So you go to Target today in US, you have that across. So it's actually something that started in pandemic, has now become the way of how Target responds. Best Buy, again in the US, so if you look at Best Buy, they came up with a 1 hour delivery, so 1 hour pickup. So you order something, you can pick it up in 1 hour. So that actually increases sales by about 60% just of that. Because people, especially electronics devices, it's either you need something really urgently because you've broken something, right? Or you are a gamer, and there's this new device that's come up which you need to lay your hands on right now, right? So the whole 1 hour thing was fundamental. So I think it's the adaptability, I would say, and there's a lot that we could do here. So we're working with one of the largest retailers in Philippines here, and at the back of the pandemic, click and collect and store pickup, according to them, that's going to drive their online revenue in the next 5 years. So they're now looking at how do we actually look at click and collect and store pickups. I wouldn't have, honestly, having lived in Singapore for over a decade, I would not have thought that a Philippines retailer or a retailer in Indonesia would do it, just because sitting in a car in Manila or Jakarta is not necessarily the right experience that I would really want. But apparently people do now. They want to go and pick it up.
Yes, nor do I. It's an impressive ability to turn a 4-lane highway into 7 lanes. I noticed in Jakarta when I was visiting Mulyadi. But the customers, obviously, I suppose for the retailers we have in the room, click and collect can work, and obviously we talked about that last mile. Is there anything from a kind of implementation perspective, looking at each of the different countries that you've experienced when you're working with the merchants that you're doing, for specifically around that kind of conversion, click and collect element?
Yep, definitely. So for click and collect or the conversions that we talk about, right? So maybe we can use their demographic data to show relevant products so that they can feel that, okay, this is what we are looking for. And then maybe the scarcity and urgency, right? So this maybe, show message like only 4 left on the PLP and PDP, so that they can feel like, okay, this is going to be out of stock and I will not get it. And something like that, maybe the free shipping, if you buy it in, let's say within next 2 hours, you will get a free shipping. Or maybe if you buy whatever you're looking for by today, then you will get 10% extra discount. So the promotional activities has to be there so that it will really helpful for the conversions. Yep. And then the best part is the reviews and rating, because whatever we are looking for, if we want to appoint, I'm looking for the appointments to the dentist or the doctor, even for that I'm looking with check with the reviews and the feedback, and based on that I will decide, okay, which doctor I have to visit, right? The same way for e-commerce as well, the feedback, the reviews, those are most important for the conversion factor. And that's why system has to give these things to the customer so that they can fill it up, and they can fill it up their experience as well. Yeah. And the other things are like the cart abandonment and all those things. So for those, maybe we can connect with the customers through emails, SMS campaigns and all. So these are the things we can do for the conversion factors, and then maybe, yeah, we can get better results.
I think something you touched on there is obviously the reviews and keeping maybe a loyal customer engaged. But when it comes to a cooker, a washer, you know, a keyboard, if you're a gamer, is just broken. Equally, if you're in B2B and you've run out of stock of a raw material, stock level is the most important thing, being able to grab it there and then. Since over the last couple of years, is there any advances or changes that people have been evolving specifically around, obviously, inventory management and making sure that customers can get that information?
A great question. Something that's right up my topic. I think that's a fundamental challenge that retailers face today. So I've been having conversations with retailers across the globe. Go and talk to them about inventory management, and do you actually have inventory across, visibility of inventory across? The answer would be no. So if I have multiple warehouses, multiple stores, 3PL, dropship, online, can I actually look at a real-time view of all of this inventory? The answer is no. And the problem is, unless you have a real-time view of that inventory, remember the keep the promise that I was talking about? That's difficult to happen. And I know Terence in his presentation, he was talking about, now I ordered something and I got something else. Yes, of course you can use a live person to have a conversation on why that happened, but essentially you could probably even fix it before that happens in the first place if you actually had a real-time view of your inventory. So that's something which we are helping and working with the retailers a lot. Stock availability is the fundamental issue that retailers face. So unless you resolve that, the fulfillment becomes a huge challenge.
Keep turning this off. Absolutely. With regards to the kind of in-store experience, I'm looking here specifically around, you've spent a lot of time on the website, you've got all the traffic driving to it, and then person goes into store and that stock's not available. What sort of methods can people use to overcome that? You know, what are they doing on the site itself to provide kind of new ways of showcasing stock or just that inventory management element? I don't know, Mandar, if you wanted to kind of take that just from a kind of construction perspective.
Yeah. So when we talk about the inventory management and all, right, so as Haran well said that it's not possible every time, but nowadays we have the offline, online, both.
It is, if you can talk to me.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, but maybe, in that case we can have the threshold configuration so that, yeah, we can consider, okay, if the inventory goes beyond 100 or let's say beyond 50, then maybe we can do some stuff, or we have some plan for that, or maybe we can have the back orders, right? So if inventory is not there, but still customer can go ahead with the back orders, and then maybe for the delivery it will take some time, but yeah, customer will never feel like, okay, whatever I'm looking for, I will get it, but I have to wait for some time. So this is the way maybe we can treat with, in case of the inventory is not available, or in case of any issues are there with the inventory, and then products are not visible or something like that. So this is the way we can do it. Alternatives maybe we can say.
If you could probably add on that, I wasn't joking. That's exactly what we do at Fluent. One of the things which we actually do really, really well, I know order management would seem like that's something which you actually do after someone has purchased a product, but because we become the master of inventory availability real time, what we actually do is in the front-end e-commerce system. So let's say you're trying to buy a pair of jeans, blue jean, and you're looking at store inventory, you're looking at a store that's close by your place. Because we have the real-time availability, you can actually push the availability in that particular store. Now that's probably not the only cool thing here, right? Let's assume that the store does not have the availability. Most of the websites, what they would do now is to say there's no stock. right? So you immediately lose me. I either go and go to a different site, right? So, but what you could do is you can, now we can find out that there's another store 10 kilometers from here or 20 kilometers from here that has a stock. Now I could actually, like what Mandar was saying, I can actually do an immediate pre-order and say, look, you can't go pick it up from the store close by your home, but we will ship it to you in 24 hours, and for the trouble that you're going through, we'll give you 20% off. So now what you're doing all of a sudden, on the front end, because you have this real-time view of your stock, you can actually keep the customer from not going to your competitive site.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, when we talk inventory management isn't one of those. It's not like, digital, it's SEO, it's not sexy, it's not branding. But actually, we start to look at real business problems when we think about something like returns. And over the last 2 to 3 years, on average, just across Singapore, across Asia, the returns on average have gone up from about 18 to 20% of kind of the kind of stock of an average retailer. Is this something that we're going to see kind of decline as we use more technology, as we use more interactive devices? Actually, as organizations, are we going to see some operational benefit?
You can prevent returns to an extent if you have the right availability and your delivery is accurate. So you can definitely stop that to an extent. But returns is a massive thing in the place where I live, right? It's after Thanksgiving. You look at the returns. I don't know how many of you had seen that picture of pile-ups of returns after Thanksgiving. I think returns will continue to happen, and I think retailers will have to give that flexibility to your consumer, because I could return for multiple reasons. Not the right size, not the right color, not something which the person that I gifted to liked it. It could be hundreds of other reasons as well. But of course, with the right technology, you can bring it down to an extent. But I do feel that that's something which retailers will need to continue to offer.
Yeah, and on top of it, maybe, if refund some customer is not eligible for refund, but then in that case, we can give them a store credits basically. So with the store credits, they can go with the other products with the same store. So that is an alternative, in case of refund is not possible.
I don't know, one of the things that I noticed, I don't know if anyone's like me who accidentally, when they go to a nice hotel, accidentally, some of the pillowcases might end up in my bag and take them home. Don't know why. And visiting a merchant yesterday, they explained that actually nowadays they're embedding RFID tags inside the sheets. Now this isn't to stop me accidentally taking them home. It's more so for them, it has an operational benefit because as the products then go through into the laundry, they can track where these products go through within that management. So very similar, that's a cool example. But this is for every business, that control of being able to see your supply chain and see each individual element actually has real life business benefits to the organization. I don't know if you've got any cool examples. I'm just trying to share one that I know of.
So you may be the reason then, because I've been in Asia after 3-4 years, and I've been traveling across, going to different hotels, and some of my favorite hotels in Bangkok and Manila. One thing which was consistent is they don't give the small bottles of shampoos and conditioners anymore. There's no small bottles anymore. It's all wall. So I was telling my wife that this is what it's like. You can actually bring a bottle and then fill it up. So you could still do it, apparently. But yeah, I think the key point here is every item that a retailer sells has its own life and journey, and unless you're tracking that particular item's birth from the manufacturing all the way up to a consumer's hands, and also actually beyond, because something happens to it, you need to be able to track, and there's a lot of talk about preventive maintenance and how do you actually prevent something from happening, and you know it before that happens. I think there's a lot of cool examples, and I know from a preventive, that whole journey, Tumi years back. So in their luggage, they had the RFID in the wheels. And so essentially, let's say you just landed in Hong Kong, you just cleared immigration, you're just walking out nonchalantly, I have no idea what's happening. And then you get a beep on your phone that says the third wheel on your stroller is actually going to break, and there's a Tumi showroom on the 4th floor. Here's the address. You go there, there is stock, and we'll replace it for you now. So to me, that was sort of the pinnacle of preventive maintenance for me in the consumer business.
No, there's obviously quite a lot of great examples. One of my favorites, and Mandar, please chime in if there's anything. If you go past, I think it's in the US as well, if you actually walk past a McDonald's, and you've got the Burger King app installed, based on the fact that you walk past the McDonald's, they will send you a push notification, an offer for a 90-cent Whopper, and directions to the nearest Burger King. I mean, great marketing. There is a balance, though, of how much of this scary data, interactivity, or intrusiveness into our daily lives do consumers want? In your opinion, is this too far? Are we going too much into technology? And maybe a little bit about, we've only got a couple of minutes left, if there's any questions. Where's the future going to go? What's the kind of, when we look at Amazon drones delivering from a blimp, by the way, that's a viral video. That's not an actual thing. Jeff Bezos does not have a blimp. But, is that the future? Is that where we're going to? What can you see happening?
Yeah, I could probably go and leave it to Mandar. The Amazon shops, the grocery shops are amazing. So the US, we had one shop near our neighborhood, now there are 4. Right. So it's growing significantly. And what you do have now, though, is someone really coming and helping you, because a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. Right? How do you actually pay on the card and swipe card? So there's someone always waiting. But I kind of feel that will eventually get out. So it's not as sexy and cool as you see it in YouTube, where there's absolutely no one in the shop. You go and buy and get out. There are a lot of people standing, waiting, and trying to help, and cart's not working and stuff like that. But I think eventually that's going to go. I think that's where the future is, where one of the reasons why I don't really enjoy shopping a lot, although it's probably the best place to shop in Asia, places like in India, is because there's always 3 people surrounding me trying to help me. But I don't want to be helped, right? I just want to be left alone. I just want to do my stuff, right? I will come and I will ask for help if I need something, right? So I think as retailers go by, I think the world is where I think I would just be left alone to do my stuff.
Does everyone else just want to be left alone? I'm seeing a lot of nods. Yeah, hands up. Yeah, okay. We need to come up with a great phrase. It would be great if you would just jog on, please. With relation to kind of, obviously, any questions from the audience, just, please, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the research. There's a couple of points that you mentioned, which I found tremendously interesting. So one is in relation to 2 stages that, in my research at least, are very important, which is the receipt and the return phases, right? These are often seen as being outside of the experience of the e-com, but it's not, because you only get the feedback once you have completed that journey and you've decided to keep or return the item, right? So what I'm trying to get at is that all these misalignment in the experience compared to expectations lead to inquiries from customer service in many cases, and this is either because I want to know where my shipment is and therefore kind of order management, but also is that proactive notification, etc. So I'm wondering how much an OMS system like a solution like yours can actually reduce strain on the customer service of a business.
Yeah, it's all about transparency and visibility, right? The biggest challenges retailers have today is when I actually go and buy something online, I complete my transaction, and I probably get an email 6 hours later that says, stock not available, but I've already paid. Now I'm stuck because I can't even go to another website and buy, right? Because I've already paid, I'm waiting for it. Or I get the wrong product, right? So I think having a real-time view of your inventory across channels is, I think, fundamental for retailers today. Once you do that, then it's all about managing multiple things and how do you, across different journey, right? From buying to, from searching to narrowing down a product to buying something to getting that product delivered. I think that visibility is key across.
Do you know if the companies that are adopting like a system like eCommerce have seen a reduction in customer service inquiries? Have you ever asked, have you ever checked this information?
Not customer service, but I do have data from returns that have dropped significantly, right? So H&M globally rolling out order management system from us, 28% in the first 6 months, their returns dropped, right? So that's massive impact because returns management and managing that whole returns is a massive task for retailers. So that's a very significant numbers. We work with Sephora. I saw a Sephora ad here, and Sephora, one of the key things that they want to do is the click and collect. They don't want to be going through marketplaces, which I think will continue to do it because they have to do it. But they prefer more sales happening from a click and collect, right? So in a click and collect scenario, pick up in store scenario, I'm going to reduce a lot of customer service interaction because all the challenges that you usually have in delivery of product goes away, right? It becomes a much more easier transaction for me. And a lot of stores, believe it or not, actually want people to come into their store and pick it up because that's an opportunity for someone to walk into the store, right? Once you walk into the store, obviously you can actually cross-sell, upsell, do a lot more things. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I guess, yes, no, that did answer the question. I would also advise to have a chat with your clients to see how much of an impact you have on actual customer service.
Absolutely.
I'm super sure that there's going to be a reduction in customer service inquiries with their costs.
No, absolutely. I would think so as well, just that I don't have the data with me. Yeah.
Just one final quick question.
Yeah, I do. Haran, first of all, I'm impressed that you don't want to say hi to people, leave me alone. I'm the opposite. I want people to meet me. Please help me in the store. And that kind of leads to my question to, I guess, all of you on stage today. We've kind of discussed very briefly around, I guess, data and privacy versus personalization versus convenience. Are you seeing that people are willing to, let's say, give up some data, give up some privacy in view of that customer service experience? Like, are you happy to get the road if you have the perfect experience just to come out in store?
Okay, first of all, don't judge me by what I said. I'm completely different. I'm completely different outside of a store. I'm absolutely happy to say hi, and probably more. Someone was actually talking to me the other day, and I was entering a building here at Suntec City, and the way they've probably implemented after COVID, I don't know, I've been there after a really long time. So I was supposed to go in and put this ID in a machine, and then it takes your picture, and then you take your ID back, no stickers, nothing, and you walk into the gantry, the elevator gantry, and then it recognizes your picture, and then you go in. And that's like literally like 30 seconds from the time you do this and go there, it registers. It was pretty cool. But the point being, my face and my ID and details are now in that machine. I have no idea what happens to that data. So my point being, I think we live in a world today where we've already given all the data that you can think of about you, right? I don't know what else you could give. I mean, I'm done. I think everyone knows about me, what I purchased, where I go, what all I did. I'm sure people know. It's about, I think the fundamental point is about what you do with the data. And I think that's where the European GDPR and the California GDPR, all that comes in. They don't say you cannot take the data. They just put in restrictions on how do you handle the data and what do you do with the data. Right. But my view is, I think I've already given all the data.
Yeah, I think
I'm exposed.
I think this is a conversation that we have in kind of our generation. The younger generation don't care. If we look at TikTok and obviously ByteDance taking a lot of data in the US, they still use it. They just don't really care. The value exchange conversation from kind of some of the research we've looked at really comes into kind of certain demographics and certain countries, certain people specifically, and individuals at certain ages. Cambridge Analytica was not the first. They won't be the last.
Yeah.
That data that we have, you're giving your location away every second if you've got a phone on you. And you can go to in your iPhone, in the settings, you can actually see where you've been. It's constantly tracking that, and you're giving that away. You're giving that away for no reason. when kind of we show people that, I'm 37, by the way, so I'm trying to, my generation, I think for millennials upwards, it's very much, okay, this is a problem, you're taking something, I'm getting nothing back for it. Below that, I think it's going to be an issue that wipes itself out as we just become more and more immune to, hi Matthew, as I walk into a store and a digital display pops up my name, for example, because it's done facial recognition. It was first proposed in Minority Report, but we are barely, we're barely a couple of years away from that. There's something as a concept. So,
yeah, it's not about giving data. I mean, I was at the bar a few days back with someone and having a conversation. I was like, where do you get good Greek food? And even before he could respond, my phone says, searching for good Greek food. I'm like, I didn't even ask it. So I guess we live in a different world.
So if we talk about this GDPR, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
I could probably go first. I think the same-day delivery or any time-based delivery largely depends on my ability to fulfill from multiple locations. If I don't have it, yeah. So exactly. So it could be anything. It could be pharmacies. It could be any groceries. It could be anything. I think the promise of delivery within a time period largely depends on my ability to deliver from multiple sources. So if I'm a retailer, I'm dependent on a warehouse, just one warehouse that delivers for online, then there is no way I can fulfill the promise, right? So for instance, the one-day delivery in Target that I was talking about, it's the store fulfilling the order. So when I get an order, it knows exactly where this person is, and within the 5-kilometer range, whichever store is within that range, picks up the order and delivers it. So the only way delivery can happen is when you enable multiple locations to fulfill the order rather than having just one fulfillment center.
No, actually it's a very complex manufacturing.
It is.
Displacement of building. So some building has density of orders, some has very sparse. So how do you then within those minutes, your algorithm must be able to select your preferences and fulfill the orders within the customer's requirements or your own jurisdiction of what you want to do. This is an example of it.
Yeah, I think it's quite a complex question, and there's a lot of detail there, and there's a couple of avenues we could probably go down. I'm literally going to pop off and could come have a chat kind of one-to-one and just kind of understand a little bit better. I am conscious that when I came to Singapore, the one thing you don't get in the way of is people having lunch. So I'm not going to be that guy. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to Haran. I really do appreciate, obviously, the time and experience that you've shared today. Thank you for your questions, most appreciative, and wish you all a fantastic rest of the day. And to Monday, we'll all be able to take our masks off here in Singapore. Let's say, wow, yes. Thank you very much.